Welcome to the Black Empowerment Hub podcast. We aim to ensure community voices are heard, celebrated, and amplified. I'm your guest host, Jacqueline Malone, CEO of Blind Resistance Clothing Brand, where our tagline, "For the Culture, by the Culture," represents our commitment to empowerment, sustainability, and uplifting underserved Black communities. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe so you'll always be in the loop for our next episodes. Today, we have a special guest who brings depth and heart to his work in the performing arts. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short message.
This episode is brought to you by the Support Black Excellence Foundation and their Support Excellence Initiative. At the Support Black Excellence Foundation, we're on a mission to foster a brighter future for all, particularly in underserved Black communities. Through strategic partnerships, mentorship programs, community service projects, and financial initiatives, we are committed to driving meaningful change where it's needed most. We invite you to join us in this remarkable journey of progress and transformation. Together, we can turn our vision into a reality. Let's shape a future that is equitable and inclusive, where empowerment, elevation, and excellence intersect to create a legacy of positive change. Thank you to the Support Black Excellence Foundation and their Support Excellence Initiative for sponsoring this podcast.
Today, we are thrilled to welcome a multi-talented artist whose journey in the entertainment world has been nothing short of inspiring. From captivating audiences on the big screen in films like Save the Last Dance, to making his mark on streaming platforms and live stages nationwide, Donnell Brooks has continuously pushed the boundaries of creativity and storytelling, not known only for his dynamic performances in productions such as Churchin with church folks and the powerful play Beyond the Door, where he brought the character of Elder Mosley to life. Donnell's artistry shines in every role he embraces. Now he's taking his audience on a deeply personal journey with the Pieces of Me, an intimate monologue that promises to explore the complexities of identity and self-discovery in a truly captivating way. This production will be held at the Artist Room Cafe, 5125 West Madison Street in Chicago, Illinois. You can get your tickets at artistroomcafe.com. Please join me in welcoming Donnell Brooks. So happy to have you on the podcast today.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I usually start these podcasts off with an icebreaker. If you've seen some of my past episodes, you'll be very well aware of that. So I have a good icebreaker for you. If you had to describe your journey in entertainment using one movie or song title, what would it be?
I would have to say Gone with the Wind.
Ooh, why is that?
I would have to say Gone with the Wind because I feel as though it was taken by storm. It was like that first blow, that was it. That was it. It took off from there.
Okay, so let's talk about your background, because now that you've given that type of answer, I'm really curious, and I'm sure the listening audience will be curious to learn more about you and how your career just took off. Donnell, you've had quite a journey in the entertainment industry. Could you tell us how your passion for dance and acting began?
My passion for dance started at the age of 3, to be honest. At home watching people like Michael Jackson. And I was just like, I could do that. Curious as a kid. But as I got older, I went out to try out for different dance crews and dance companies, and being chosen, started competing in different competitions all around the city of Chicago, winning trophies. I started rehearsing at a Chicago Park District, Clark Park to be exact, on the west side of Chicago, under the direction of Miss Linda McWright, who ran a production company called Umbrella Productions. She put on big, elaborate concerts with a lot of local artists as well as big name artists. And we would always be her dancers, whether we opened up the show or she had us background dancing for someone. And I felt like a star. It was intriguing to me. It was feeding me. It kept me off the streets. It calmed me down from being this bad kid or this bad teenager. Um, I feel like it saved my life.
When did you realize you wanted to pursue entertainment more seriously?
When I realized I wanted to pursue entertainment more seriously was after Save the Last Dance. A friend of mine, Dane A. Campbell, he started his own production company, Fearless Fiction, and I was on his board. So I was someone who was working behind the scenes, but I was meeting different actresses and actors, and as I was watching, I was like, "This is really intriguing. This is really dope. I think I can do this." Of course, unbeknownst to any of them, I wasn't sharing that I was going to try it, but I heard about an audition and I went to audition. By the time I made it home, the director reached out to me, letting me know that I got the part. I had no clue. It was the lead role. And I didn't know what that entailed. Once I got into the role and once we started rehearsing and the actual show went up, in that moment, that's when it became more serious to me.
This is actually Paramount Pictures, Save the Last Dance. So that is a very big step. I mean, for anyone
Major
just
step.
breaking into the entertainment, major
Step.
I have stories of trying to break into entertainment at a younger age too. So I know that world. So that is a really big deal, especially being so young in your career level at that time.
Yes.
To get a role like that is absolutely incredible. So let's take it back a step too, because this is an exciting moment and a big milestone in your life and your entertainment career. How did it come about to you, the opportunity, and what was it like to be on that set on day one?
The opportunity came about because of Miss Linda McWright. She heard about the auditions. She took 4 or 5 of us. We went to go be extras when they were filming at Lucy Flowers High School, which is now our Raby here in Chicago. We filmed a setting, and then she heard about them having auditions for specialty dancers and extras in the club scene. And so she told us about it. So me and my childhood best friend, we went to that audition. The other 4 didn't go with us. By the time we got home, we both got a phone call saying we were picked. Of course, you had to learn a routine. You had maybe about 20, 25 minutes to learn these steps. And they wanted to see you do the steps, and then they wanted to see you freestyle. What we call it a solo because it's just you by yourself, but it was you freestyling. On set that first day, it was surreal. Like we were in holding, they were feeding you. They was treating you like you was a star. You had to check in. You had all your clothes was over here. Wardrobe need to come and look at you from head to toe. They need to see your shoes. They need to see your pants. They need to see your shirt. Okay, we're going to change this. We're going to swap this out. Hey, you're sweating. We're going to do a little makeup over here. We're going to do a little padding over here. It really felt good. It was amazing. It was also real to the point to where I don't think during the moment I wasn't taking it all in. I was there, it was happening, but I wasn't taking it in. I didn't really take it in until after the movie was over with and out.
That's so interesting to hear someone's first experience, because we don't always get to hear that story of how you felt when you're on that set. We usually, as viewers, sit back and watch a finished and polished performance and then polished media after, but now to get like the real depth of like, this is how I felt really at that time. This is me. It just humanizes everything.
The dancers that they flew in from LA had started telling us, like, if y'all want to take this serious, y'all should leave when we leave. But of course you 19, 20, you like, wait, what do you mean leave when you leave? All I know is home. Y'all need to leave when we leave. You can come back to LA with us. You can sleep on my couch. You can sleep on the floor. All you got to do is hit all the auditions. Makes you wonder, where would life have taken you had you took that leap of faith?
That's right. Yeah, we all have those moments when we think back of what could have happened, what would have been. I remember several moments in my life about that. It's like, where would I have actually been at this moment had I taken that direction, that road, or
Mm-hmm.
that opportunity that is literally handed to you by someone who just sees you and wants to help. So I understand that. That's interesting to think about. But at the same time, I think everything is aligned and ordained for us. So
That's
it is
very true.
okay. You're in where you need to be at the present moment and impacting who you need to impact in the present moment. And so
That's
that's
true.
what's important. Your work has aired on sitcoms and streaming platforms like Tubi and Amazon Prime. By the way, I had a chance to view Dogs for Life in preparation for this podcast and just looking at some of your work and being very impressed by you and learning more about you actually.
Okay.
And of course, share your experiences for the Coleman Show and Dogs for Life.
I was able to live in these moments. I got a phone call from one of my alumni members who used to dance for me. She now directs, does PA, co-direct. She gave me a phone call and was like, "Hey, I have a role that I think that you'll be good in." It wasn't a speaking role, but it was you actually synced me, and I was able to do body motions and gestures and things of that nature, and it was a paid gig. So I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll come and do it." I really didn't know the character at the moment. It was funny because the character was an African. And I get that a lot, where people think that I'm not from here. I know it's because of the dark skin, the high cheekbones. And it's funny to me. I can laugh at it now. Growing up, it was kind of irritating. Like, okay, you gotta know I'm from here. I'm not from nowhere else. She called me for the role, and so I went to the audition, and the lady wanted me to do. She wanted me to do like a scene from Coming to America or whatever. And it was funny to me when she asked me to do it because that's how I knew that the character had to be like African or something, the Jamaican or something. He had to have an accent. So being on that set, I rubbed elbows with a lot of great people. This is a show that is on Tubi and on Amazon Prime right now.
For the listening audience who may not know, what was your character on the Coleman Show? And Dogs for Life, you played a police officer. Let's talk about the Coleman Show and talk about your character in that for the listening audience.
So for the Coleman Show, I played a character called Matumbe. So I was like an African warrior. And I was friends with another African where the setup was he was a father, but he was challenging the stepfather to a game of basketball. And so he was bringing two of his boys, and they were going to challenge the father and two of his boys. And we were to be like mean roughnecks. So we show up to scare them. So he's doing the talking, but we're doing the gestures. I'm like hitting my chest like Tarzan and smashing my fists together, like, yeah, we're going to crush y'all type of thing with no words, though. But yeah, it was really funny to me. Really funny. Like, I think we had to do the tape maybe about 6 times before we got it right.
That's cool. So your journey has also taken you to stage, okay, where you
Yes.
worked on productions like Churchin with church folks. I mentioned that one at the top, and I also mentioned Beyond the Door. And I had the opportunity to see you in Beyond the Door. Ooh wee! And I told you you were one of my favorite characters.
I truly appreciate that. I
Listen,
truly appreciate that.
Donnell, I'm still blown away. Like talking about that, I said, this brother is, you opened that play and you set the tone. And I had so many chills. Like listening to you, you brought the church to that play and you really embodied that character. It was really wonderful. Like you're
Thank
really
you.
a
Thank
great
you.
talent. I had a chance to interview with Denise Jones, who is a playwright. She's also an author.
Yes.
and it's her life story.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had my feedback interview with her, I spoke about you and the way the lighting was, the spotlight on you, and you brought the audience in throughout the play. When the church scenes came on, and you were like, no, you're in this audience. We are all in church together. So I really appreciate that. So how has that stage acting differed from film and TV roles that you've done? Because those are three different major areas for an actor
Yeah.
to be able to do all three. A lot of folks don't get to do that when they're in acting. So how does that differ for you? And where do you find home, which in those areas?
If I had to choose any to find home, I find home on the stage. When it's live performance, it's to me it's free for all. You have more room. There's more room to stretch. There's more room to grow. There's more room to take that character to another height. The difference is you have a longer there's a longer process preparing for a stage production versus preparing for a sitcom or preparing for a movie, because once they get that scene right, you're done, you're wrapped, and they're finished with you. The stage production, before rehearsals even start, there's a table read, and sometimes there's more than one table read to make sure that the characters are truly understanding what we're about to embody.
I mentioned about Denise already, and how the play was written about her life, or
Hmm.
scenes from her life. I will say that because it wasn't
Yes.
the entirety of her life. How did her vision as a playwright influence your performance?
I just took how her passion and the love she carried in her heart for her elder. She had me portraying a role where this man is still alive. He's not gone on, to glory. He's here. I can feel the love that she had from him in her heart with just her speaking to me. I can tell the respect that she carries for him. You have to go in and you have to um, really prepare yourself, because you don't want this to be a flop. You don't want to fail at this. We all know that no, you're not able to just be somebody, but you can mimic them. You can still bring the character to life without fully being them, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Um, what are some of your more memorable moments about that production? Because it is a very raw
Hmm.
story, and you don't always see that level of raw,
You
and
don't.
even when you first read the script and you saw,
Hmm.
everything that was going to happen within that production. um what was some of your memorable moments in that, and how did that really impact you as an actor?
I would say from that piece alone, my most memorable moment was the prayer. You can pretend anything else. You can't pretend a prayer. That has to come from this inner place where you're truly connecting with who it is that you're trying to reach, and you're truly connecting to who it is that you're trying to speak to. And that's the higher power. You can speak to an audience all day long and probably never shed a tear. But when you embody that, and there's this connection is between you and God, now that's who you're talking to. I was tearing up on stage all 3 days.
Mm.
I kept saying, I don't stand still when I pray. I walk the floors. I'm talking to God. I'm in my zone. I'm in a moment. This is just me and Him in this moment. I don't stand still. If I stand still, it's because we together, and maybe we done linked up and we holding hands or something, or I'm standing here with my hand on you or something. That's the reason why I'm standing still. Other than that, I'm moving. It's a constant motion, because this is how I relate to Him, and this is how He relates with me. So that was the most memorable moment to me. That whole prayer, and it took a lot of prayer to get through that. Now, I would say what was most relatable to me was I love God for real, and I know He loved me. Even going to witness Elder Mosley, I know that he loves God. I know that that's who he's truly trying to serve, not the people. I'm not trying to satisfy you as people. I want to be pleasing to him, because me being pleasing to him, then I can be pleasing to you.
Right. And I read that you described yourself as a God-fearing actor and dancer. That's part of your history. How has your faith influenced your career and the choices you made?
I would say it has influenced me on levels that I can't even imagine. So you spoke about having an agent. I run into people who are equity actors and a part of these different talent agents all the time. And everybody always asks me, well, Daniel, who your agent? I say, God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Because God goes before me. If I can be honest with you, I don't even go and audition for anything that don't move me. When someone tell me about it, it has to be an unction, and that unction has to come from him. If it don't, I can't go forth. There's some things I've been a part of and I had to pull back away from because I didn't see the God in it. I didn't feel the God in it. People talk a good game all the time. But the one person you can't lie to is him. And just like you can't lie to him, you're not gonna lie to his children. Because he not gonna let you. You might think you fooling them, but that thing gonna come full circle.
This entertainment industry is so full of ups and downs. And were there any moments where you faced setbacks? And if there were, what helped you stay grounded and motivated through those challenges?
I would have to say I don't think I really ran into any real setbacks. I think again, I just spoke this to someone just yesterday. I said, I know what separates me from different actors and actresses is they're looking for stardom, and I'm not looking for stardom. And the only reason why I'm not looking for stardom, don't get me wrong, if God sent it my way, by all means, I'm gonna submit to it and take it with open arms. But I'm not chasing stardom. I'm not chasing stardom because when I'm a part of a project, whether it's your project, whether it's her project, whether it's his project, my goal is to make somebody else feel good. Whether that person is in the audience, whether that person is a part of the cast, whether that person is a part of the crew. I've worked on sets and shows where you run into amazing directors who's there for you and care for you, and you feel this. And then I've been on sets and a part of productions where the director was mean as hell, the cast was mean as hell, and disconnected from each other. So I feel like they say he say go out into the hedges and highways and compel the people to come in. He say let his light so shine, because it ain't about us at the end of the day. Light has to be in every dark place. So I believe that God is going to always send his people in areas where a preacher ain't gonna go. But because you are a believer, because you are his child, he'll send you to this party, and you can go and bless somebody via conversation. You don't have to be preaching and beating them over their head with the Bible. You can bless them with conversation, because where you're coming from, your heart is pure.
Yes, and I agree with that, because a lot of individuals from the church think they need to stay within the four walls of the church. That's
true.
Not our job. Our job is to go out, and it is actually to go out in the darkest places.
Yes,
so that we bring the light there. What good is it for us to keep the light within us and not expand to bring souls into the church? Let's talk about people who have made a significant impact on your journey. You talked up top about the dance instructor who I believe it's made a great impact on your life, introducing you to the entertainment world. And so were there other impactful individuals that have brought attention and light into your life to help you along your journey?
Yes, indeed. Aretha Tatum. She's the director, writer, and producer of Season, the series that I'm also the assistant pastor on. Amazing woman of God. She's always encouraging. There was a time where I took a week or so off from social media. I wasn't getting on as faithful as I was blessing the people with a word here and there. And she just messaged me and say, "Hey, what's going on? The world needs you." There's a couple, they were a part of my former church, the Lashleys, actually, Elder James Lashley and Minister Shauna Lashley, who prayed for me like it was nobody's business. Evangelist Sherry Addison, another prayer warrior who would pray for me and just would speak encouraging words. My former pastor, who I still consider my pops, Pastor Christopher Troy Harris Sr. I feel like he helped get me to this place where I am right now. Pastor John F. Hanna. My mother and my father was my first. And I feel like their presence and the nuggets that they were dropping as a kid and as a teenager, I carry that stuff with me now.
I think you are so blessed to have so many anointed individuals centered around you. I do know Pastor Hannah is a highly anointed individual, and those prayer services that he has, those morning prayers,
Yeah.
are powerful, to say the least. You have been highly blessed to have that, because a lot of people don't have so many individuals that have really spoken into their life. They are blessed enough to have one, or two, but
True.
you have been surrounded by them, angels just sent to you. That tells me a lot about you and the spirit of you. Let's move to your current project, the Pieces of Me. So that's happening, coming up November 2nd, right around the corner.
Yes.
And what inspired you to create the Pieces of Me, and audiences, what can they expect from this intimate dinner and show event?
The Pieces of Me actually was created in the latter part of 2015. All things can only move by God. This was God ordained. What the people can expect is to be brought into my world in a way that's out of the norm, because I don't just allow people in to get close with me. That's coming in and experience and learn what's behind the smile, because the smile is real. The smile is natural. But what's behind the smile? I would tell anybody there's different components and compartments that are meshed together that make us us. Nobody knows what it takes to be you. Nobody knows what it took for you to get to the platform that you're at right now. These are things you have to learn from the individual. It's going to be a great show.
The narrative in the Pieces of Me explores the fragmented nature of human experiences, as you just eloquently described. How do you balance sharing your personal story with connecting to the broader audience?
Think about the world we live in, the time we living in right now. We are living in a time where there's so many people hurting about so many different things. I mean, it's a plethora of things where individuals are hurting, and we know the stigma of hurt people hurt people. But if you were hurting and something helped you heal that hurt, why wouldn't you extend that to others so that they can be healed? We were created to help each other in some shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I often say that to my guests on this podcast about helping one another, which is the essence of this podcast, which is we bring on people who are making an impact in the community and who have very inspiring lives, in hopes that you empower, uplift, and inspire a listener, someone who hears your story, views your performances, or partakes in resources that you might offer. Also, at the same time, to uplift and say, this person needs their flowers now.
Yes.
We are built up so that we can reach down and help another. What message or feeling do you hope guests take away from attending the Pieces of Me?
The message that my heart hopes is whatever trauma that anyone has ever dealt with, you don't have to live that trauma for the rest of your life. These stigmas that are placed on our back or hanging over our head, this stuff can be erased. This stuff can be broken. This stuff can be removed. It can be changed if we're willing to put in the work to change it. Even if I got upset at 7 o'clock in the morning, by the time 8 o'clock comes, I shouldn't still be upset because I've encountered some different things from 7 to 8 o'clock. So I shouldn't still be thinking about what happened at 7 o'clock, at 8 o'clock. Something should have shifted me to be in a different headspace and to be in a different place. But I do know we have people who like to hold on and prolong, to certain things. But I just feel like so much happens in a matter of seconds that can be life-changing that you shouldn't still be upset an hour later.
Right, because it can just take over you. You are angry about something or upset about something disturbed your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we will hold grudges against other individuals, and they may not even know that they've done something to harm us, when we can simply a lot of times talk and communicate with one another about
That's
how we
very
feel
true.
in the moment or how we felt
I
about
totally agree
something,
with you on
but
that.
instead we don't. Yeah, it's just communication. If we simply communicate it better, I think that would take away a lot of our pains and stress and anxiety. Let's talk about how this monologue with the Pieces of Me compares to the other experiences that you've done. How is this one so special, and what does this one mean to you?
With this one, this was a baby given to me from God. So when He gives us something, we do our best to nurture it. What sets it apart from anything else to me is this is more personal. This is more personal because now there is a door that I have to open for you to come through and get a chance to experience me wholeheartedly versus you writing a character for me or someone writing a character for me or you coming to see me on a TV screen and I'm portraying this character. November the 2nd, I'm going to be me. You're going to see me unveil versus me portraying Tom or me portraying Officer Riley or me portraying, So yeah, to me, that's the difference.
Yeah, and that's a bold and brave thing to do. Is this, tell me, this wasn't one of my major questions that I have for you, but I'm curious about this production. Is this a one-man production?
So it's honestly not. I have some friends that will be joining me. They're more like my brothers from another mother. And that's the thing. It's like we're taking you on a journey into our world. There's some these that's going to tie everything together and answer all of the questions that that really want to be answered. So yeah, it's going to be an amazing show. I promise you that. It's going to be mind blowing. It's going to be heartfelt. It's going to be touching.
Listen, I have no doubt about that. I've seen you on stage, so I am definitely sure you're going to bring it through for us all. Do you have anything in the pipeline that you're excited about or currently still working on that's going to continue forward?
Yes, I'm excited to see the next level for the Pieces of Me after November the 2nd. But I'm also excited for a project that was supposed to take place before the pandemic. It's a series, but first the guy, his name is Marquise, he's gonna shoot a short film. It's called Blood and Moon. So I'm excited to be a part of that, to see it all come to fruition.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So what advice would you give to aspiring dancers or actors?
I would just say to any inspiring actor, any inspired dancer, I would say do it, do it wholeheartedly. Make sure that it's coming from a good place. Everybody doesn't have the right motive. So be careful and mindful. Do your homework, of course, and trust God and keep him first. And so as high as you can go.
That's awesome. So you've experienced acting, dancing, leadership roles. Do you see yourself exploring any other areas of entertainment in the future?
I do. I actually want to see what it's like to direct without me being a part of it. I actually want to see what it's like to be behind that camera looking in from my standpoint.
Yeah, I had that in my mind about you being a director. I think you would be awesome in that role. So I'm very glad that you actually said that. You definitely have what it takes to be able to do it. And it's that creative passion and mindfulness of every detail, and you embody all of those uh, characteristics that you need to be able to push a production in such a way and be able to lead it, tell that story from beginning to end.
I
So
truly appreciate
I
that.
think that would be a good role for you. You should definitely explore that. Now we're at the end of our podcast, and what I want you to do at this point is just tell the listening audience how they can support you and attend the Pieces of Me. I talked about it at the top, but I want you to make your pitch of why they should come and attend this show.
So, to everyone that's tuning in, I appreciate you tuning in. I would like to say, if you ever wanted to experience Donnell Brooks, you need to be at the Artist Room Cafe, 5125 West Madison Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60644. And doors are going to open at 5:45. Tickets, you can get your tickets at theartistroomcafe.com. There's still time to get tickets. No worries. There's still time to get tickets. We still have a little more room to get you in there with us. It's going to be an amazing show. You don't want to miss it. I want to allow everyone to experience what's behind the smile. Not just my smile, but what's behind the smile. Again, like I stated earlier, there's so many different components and compartments that make a person be them. And a lot of times we miss that. This is going to be a show that you don't want to miss. I promise you that.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us on today's Black Empowerment Hub podcast episode. Donnell, it has been an absolute pleasure having you to share your incredible journey, insights, and experiences with us. Your story reminds us of the power of faith, resilience, and staying true to your passion, even when the path isn't always easy. So we hope you found today's conversation as inspiring as we did. Remember, your journey matters, and every step you take brings you closer to making your mark. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, review, and share it with others who could use a little extra motivation and empowerment today. Until next time, stay empowered, stay involved, and always remember, real change begins within our communities. See you next time.